to Comic YOUniverse, the only nerd-centric thing you need in your life. DPZ, rolling solo once again. And yeah, if you're wondering, what the hell's going on? Why is DPZ doing J segment? Well, Jay said that we could use this segment whenever we wanted to, and I was like, right on, I'll do it right now. So, here we are. Welcome to I Ship It, where more or less we talk about our favorite ships. And yeah, I was going to do a cartoon ship, but I was like, nah, let's keep comic for a little bit longer. And today I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite comic book relationships of all time, and that is Dick Grayson, Nightwing, with Starfire. Now, if you don't like the idea of Dick and Corey together, I don't know what the fuck you're doing with your life. I really don't. I really don't. You need to go get, like, Jesus or Buddha or something like Flying Spaghetti Monster in your life, because if you don't ship that, what the fuck wrong with you? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But anyway, so yeah, Starfire and Dick Grayson. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys, this is one of my favorite relationships in comics ever. Like this is number 3. This is number Trace, right here. And the only ones that beat it out are Clark Kent and Superman and Spider-Man and Mary Jane. Because, yeah, you shocked? Anyway, so this is my number 3. This is my number 3, but bronze medal's still good. So yeah, Starfire and Dick Grayson. This is probably like one of the most debated because Dick Grayson is such a man whore. Don't lie, don't lie to yourself. He is the James Bond of the DC universe in that he pulls down a gaggle of ass that even Bruce would go, seriously, dude, what? Anyway, but here's the thing that I've always enjoyed about Starfire and, Dick. I've always enjoyed this about Dick and Corey, is that they've always been, whatever happens, they always seem to find one another. No matter what happens in the comics, whether they be broken up or not, they always seem to be straight up honest with one another. They both seem to be, straight up with one another. They always seem to be close, no matter what happens in this, whether it be Titans or Grayson or, Starfire's comic or whatever comic, they always seem to find one another. And they always are, 100% for each other. Even more, I've seen, Dick be more loyal to, Starfire than he has been to Barbara. And you probably think, well, what about Barbara Gordon? What about Barbara Gordon? Because I've seen enough comics, mostly written by Chuck Dixon, oddly enough, that shows that relationship is so fucking toxic. Because Barbara can be a little too controlling, and Dick Grayson can be a little too aloof. Whereas Dick Grayson, I feel like with him, when he first met Starfire, it was like, wow. Not only, it's not like something like promiscuous and aloof. Well, admittedly, it did kind of start out like that. But eventually, you can clearly see that Dick Grayson was willing to change for Starfire. You can clearly see that, that Dick Grayson, more than Barbara, had an effect on Dick than any other woman in his life. And, no matter what, he keeps coming back to her. It's like the two are constantly finding one another no matter what. It's very clear that these two seem to be pulling towards one another no matter what. And Starfire, without Dick Grayson, we wouldn't have a Titans comic because, yeah, as we all know, Tamaranians absorb languages through lip contact, and of course, she kind of swapped spit with Grayson. So, yeah, that was the big thing. But having said that, though, you clearly see that DC, more than us, DC ships Dick Grayson with Starfire, hard. Hardcore ships Grayson and Starfire. Honestly, I think the only one they, went harder on was Dick, the other two, Batman and Catwoman and, Superman and Lois. Thank you, Bendis, for that one. And also, I know a lot of people are mad at Tom King for the marriage, but go blame Bane. Go blame Bane for the breakup. Yeah, you just don't beat Bane without him going, you know what? I'm gonna ruin your happiness. You ruin my happiness, I ruin yours. So go blame Bane for that shit. Anyway, I'm getting off topic again. So anyway, there's an actual love, there's an actual connection between the two. There's, like, something that, like I said, Dick Grayson wants to change for. And no matter what you see in, and also the other thing is that, while Barbara had sometimes wanted, you know, Dick to change his ways in some of the points, Starfire knew, like, right ahead that, you know, if he wants to change, that's fine, but I am not going to force him to change who he is, you know. I didn't fall in love with someone who wants to be different from what he wants to be. If he wants to change, fine, but I am not going to force him to do so. So that's what I like, is that Starfire accepted Dick Grayson for who he was as a person, then, rather than condemn him about it more often than not, like Barbara often did. But Starfire, while she did get pissed off at some points, it was more like, you know, she kind of like as, you know, time went on, she was like, that's just who Dick is. That's who Dick Grayson is, and I need, you know, I can accept that. And yeah, even Dick is like, you know, if there's one woman in my life, that's got to be him, that's got to be her. So yeah. But going back to what I said about Dick Grayson and Starfire is that, like I said, you look at everything that DC does, like, it's very clear that they like those two together more so than, him and Batgirl together. And I know there are, like, diehard, Dick and Barbara shippers out there. There are, like, some people who really love those two together, the idea of those two together. And I'm not trying to, and I know, like, I've been joking around, and I apologize for that, like, but honestly, I don't ship it, but if you do, if anyone out there who likes the idea of, Barbara and Dick together, that's totally fine. No ill will against you. I know I've been playing around and messing around, and I apologize up front for that, but I'm just messing around. If you do ship them, that's totally fine. No ill will against you or anything. I'm just we're just here to have some fun and do this video. But anywho, but like I said, with DC, you've got, the Titans movies, which have Dick Grayson and Starfire as a major couple. You've got, of course, the Teen Titans show, not Go. You've got the original Teen Titans animated show, and the movie that established them as a major couple. So, and yeah, in a lot of comics, especially recent comics, you see that relationship really flourish. So I'm surprised, like, Dick didn't get the idea of, after seeing Bruce and Selina, when they started thinking about tying the knot, he was like, hey, I'm gonna go talk to Corey real quick, I gotta go get a ring real quick. And they came close to marriage so many times, so I'm like, DC, I know major comic book industries have some kind of stigma against the idea of characters getting married, which I never understood, because, like, for me, and this is how I've always viewed it, is that we've basically, I know a lot of people say, oh, well, we don't know what to do with a married couple. I'm like, really? You don't know what to do with a married couple? Like, at all. Even though most of you guys are married and have successful marriages, you don't know how to do a married couple. You can talk about relationship all damn day, but when it comes to marriage and them being a couple, why is that so difficult? And also, we've essentially been telling, and this is something I've had with both sides of Marvel and DC, is that for some, like I said with this whole stigma thing, is that we've essentially told we've told a generation, if not 2 generations of kids now, that don't fall in love, don't get married, because if the superheroes you look up to can't figure out a relationship, then you shouldn't even bother with being in love with somebody. We have essentially told a, generation of kids, boys and girls, hey, marriage doesn't work out for them, so why should you even bother getting married? Why should you even bother finding a relationship? That's very damaging, in my opinion. That is so freaking damaging to, to a young reader, or to a young adult reader who wants to find a relationship. That is so goddamn damaging. And I don't think anyone talks about that, but anyway. So yeah, I know I've been kind of all over the place with this video, but, I'm just having fun with it, and, Starfire and Dick Grayson, their goals. I'm fully aware. I know before anyone says, well, what about Dick Grayson sleeping around with all those other women, and all the, they weren't exactly flower and roses in their relationship in Titans. I'm well aware that these two had kind of had their ups and downs. But guess what? That's a relationship for you. ups and downs are, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. I hate to break it to you, fanfiction writers, but it is not always, you know, sunshine and rainbows here in reality land. Sometimes your respective other is going to do something really shitty. I hate to burst your fucking bubble of, you know, happiness and bliss, but welcome to the real world. Allow me to bitch slap you with a reality, because, yeah, that's what happens in a relationship. There are ups and there are downs. And it's kind of accentuated a bit more if you run around in tights beating the shit out of somebody for a living. Just saying. Anyway, so there you go, guys. So you guys tell me in the comments below. What do you guys think of? Do you guys enjoy Dick Grayson and Starfire as a relationship? Just comment below. Let us know here at Comic YOUniverse. And once again, thank you so much for 700 getting us to 700 subscribers. And yeah, once again, hope you all enjoyed this, and see you once more in the universe.